Going on YouTube, Bay Mechanic here. Today in this video I'm showing you how to replace the valve cover gaskets on a 2017 Honda Accord. Now this works for many different years of the Honda Accord. This is the 4-cylinder engine, and as you see we have a crazy valve cover gasket leak. So we're going to be replacing this customer's spark plugs with the valve cover gasket, because we're going to also be replacing the spark plug gasket tubes, whatever you call that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing I like to do, since we're going to be removing a bunch of sensors and things, I like to disconnect our negative terminal from the battery, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys how do we start. Now with our negative terminal removed, let's go ahead and remove the 10mm bolts holding this cover. All right, now that we were able to remove our cover, this is where we're able to access the coils and the spark plugs. So we're not going to be able to need to access the spark plugs till later. We're going to go to remove these 10mm bolts and disconnect each one of these and take out the coils, and then we're going to need to remove this wiring harness out of our way. All right, with our 10mm removed and disconnecting the clips, as you see, this comes off right here. You also want to push in this tab and pull this bad boy out. So that's that right there. You want to kind of go ahead and wiggle this out of there. Then we're going to try to get that out. Okay, now that you get this off, we're going to trace these two back here, one here and here. Remove these two so we can go ahead and pull this out of our way. I did forget to mention, once you do remove these, there's also this piece right here that is held in. You just want to go ahead and use something, a screwdriver or like a plier, squeeze it together, and this comes out. Now if this thing's already kind of ripped, then you're all good. You don't need to worry about this step. Okay, now once we've removed those, as you see, we have a lot more wiggle room with this whole piece to access not only our valve cover bolts, but this hose that has to come off and a few other main things. So next we're going to go ahead and disconnect this hose right here that's connected to the valve cover. Just go ahead and spring those clamps down together and remove that hose. Okay, once we remove that, next you want to go ahead and come over here, remove this one. We're going to disconnect the O2 sensor from here. This bad boy here just pops right off. And from here, we're going to need to access a few things to get the rest of the valve cover off. All right, once you have disconnected this, it should look like this. Once you disconnected that, it should look like that. So now we have one more thing to worry about and disconnect, and that's that green connector right there with the bottom of this. We need to pull this out. Same way we pull this one out under using a screwdriver or something. We can, I don't know if I can get the camera to see, and this bad boy comes out. From then we should be good to start removing the 10mm around the valve cover, so we can go ahead and remove the valve cover off. Okay, so once you have removed all the bolts, should look like these. One of them is gonna be like this, the rest are gonna come out like this, and you're gonna use a tiny screwdriver like the one I did that I can't find currently, right here, something like this, and get kind of under, and you're able to pop this out. Now you're going to be very careful. You don't want to make sure there's any junk or anything going in the engine. You want to make sure you wipe everything down first and slowly remove this valve cover. Now I'm gonna go ahead and obviously have to put you guys down and use two hands. One thing that helped me a lot is, well, one thing you have to do is you're gonna have to remove that as well. There's another these plastic clips that go into the back of that valve cover. You got to take that off. So now you're able to fully remove it. We're gonna remove it and I'll show you what beneath it looks like. I was able to get this valve cover off. Now, one thing I really found helpful is removing the connector and the 12mm ground, and these two clips from the alternator allows more leverage up here, and you're able to pull the valve cover over the timing chain. This engine, as you see, looks fairly clean. Now, one thing we're gonna do is make sure we clean very good these areas from here and to the back side. As you see, all around got to be cleaned very good. Now for me, since we're going to be also replacing the spark plugs for this customer as well, we're going to go ahead and remove these spark plugs. Let's see if I can show you. Nope, you can't see. So let's get those spark plugs out for this customer, get those replaced, clean up the surface. Okay, now as you can see, the surface is cleaned up, looking good. Just have a little more things to use a razor on. To, you don't want to get all that RTV off, because we're going to be applying new RTV. Now, this is what I am using. I like using Mega Black, the high temp silicone gasket maker. This is for oil pans, valve covers, anything oil resistant with high temperature. I like using this one. You guys can use any one that is for valve covers. You just want to go ahead and put some around this corner, that corner, and this corner here. Just a little bit. You don't want to do too much. And this is the gasket. These are two gaskets I replaced. Now, the funny thing is, the O'Reilly's gave the customer these as well. Now, on some of these Hondas, the valve covers, the inner spark plug tube seals are serviceable, which would look like this. They will require a T40 socket to remove. Now, in this situation, these are not serviceable unless you change the whole valve cover from the dealer. In this situation, the customer only got the gasket, so we did just replace that gasket and this one. And as you see, got this new gasket all around. So we already replaced the spark plugs for this customer. So I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back. Make sure you clean as much as you can with the valve cover around here. Apply your silicone, RTV, put everything back, and I'll show you guys once we got that cover back on. All right, we're all done. Everything's put back together. As you see, we have a cleaner surface, way cleaner than before. And here's that black RTV or gasket maker I used. Everything is reconnected, put back together. Now, make sure there's a certain pattern that I will put up on the screen for you guys right now. You guys need to follow that to put the bolts back exactly the way it is, so the valve cover can go on a nice snug fit and you don't have any extra leaks or any problems. Make sure you guys torque these down to spec. Don't over tighten it. You guys will snap the bolts and it will be a way more difficult job than it should be. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this video helped. Put everything back the same way you took it off and you're all good to go. Don't forget to reconnect the battery, put your cover back on. Until next time, guys. Peace.